Live from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Good evening. This is the National News Telecast. I'm Moin Hettiarachchi.
A very good evening indeed. I'm Sharif Tahir. Let's take a look at the headlines.
An investment of $15 million for a laboratory of international standards. 3,425 nurses to be recruited for health service. Gazette notification on Friday. The taska Batya has died. Stringent laws against shooting wild elephants. Cabinet approval for National Cyber Protection Strategy. All-share price index of the Colombo Stock Exchange records an all-time high of 19,000 points. 2 persons perish in a vehicle accident at Mahaveli-Vienna Canal. Bail granted for consultant Dr. Maheshi Vijayaratne and Nishantha Vikramasinghe. US President warns of heavy tariffs against Russia. New weapons for Ukraine. Now on to those and more stories in detail. On today's top story, a government delegation is scheduled to leave for the United States on Friday to negotiate a reduction in tariffs imposed by the US President Donald Trump.
Foreign Minister Biotechnology says that the government's aim is to further reduce the tariff percentage by closely act with the US government. Minister Biotechnology said that on the 18th, the Sri Lankan delegation would go back to Washington and that the discussions would continue. He stated that they were making every possible effort to reduce the taxes imposed before the 1st of August. He also mentioned that discussions had already begun to reach a bipartisan agreement regarding that matter and added that they were hopeful.
The biggest haul of gold brought by an air passenger in history of Sri Lankan customs was seized by the customs today. This was discovered at a special raid conducted at Katunayake International Airport. The customs said the suspect is a Sri Lankan passenger who attempted to smuggle gold stock from Dubai to Sri Lanka was taken into custody. The 32-year-old suspect has been identified as a resident of Grand Pass area. A haul of gold weighing over 35 kilograms worth over 1 billion rupees was found in his possession.
30th Kalin Sumati Award ceremony is currently being held at the Monarch Imperial Hotel, Thalawathugoda. The national television has received a number of awards at the ceremony. Dramas and programs presented last year by all television channels are being appreciated at this year's awards ceremony. At the same time, the acting talents of the artists of this country and artists of television sector will also be appreciated during the Sumati Ceremony Awards. The Best Sports Program of 2025 has been received by Jayamini Ilaperuma of Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation, who directed the Cricket Gammata program. Tuishan, directed by Pushpita Piris and telecast over the national channel, received the award for the Best Children's Program of 2024. Ranjani Rajmohan received the award for her excellent acting in the teledrama Flat Nuwana Flat, telecast on national television. A memorandum of understanding has been signed today between the Medical of the USA and Sri Lanka Institute of Biotechnology (SLIBTEC) to establish a laboratory with internationally recognized accreditation. The MOU for this $15 million investment project was signed at the Presidential Secretariat. It was signed by Professor Hans Kersted, founder of the American company STE Medical, and on behalf of the Sri Lanka Institute of Biotechnology by its chairman Professor Samitha Hettige and Chief Operating Officer Amali Ranasinghe.
My congratulations and respect and applaud to the government and for recognizing the current leadership has just been extraordinarily visionary in the need to underpin this ecosystem with a quality laboratory. It is absolutely essential. So my congratulations and I applaud you for your vision, Professor Gomaka, and all of your colleagues in this sector, and then to build a clinical trial infrastructure atop that.
When we talk about accreditation, it is one of the very important words for a country. It involves so many areas. Health sector, agriculture, cosmetics, and in Sri Lanka, Ayurvedic products and exports, import, it involves everywhere. And the current government actually, we are planning to double the export capacity by 2030. So that means there are a lot of developments going on all these areas, and that means even the current capacity need to be doubled. There are a lot of applications in this accredited area. Today, actually, we are going to sign an MOU between STEM Medical and also SlipTech to establish nationally and internationally recognized accredited lab. Fulfill this really important need that will really support the government development.
The government has decided to recruit 3,525 nurses for hospital services. This was announced at a PET briefing today to announce the cabinet decisions. Cabinet spokesman Minister Dr. Nalin Dajatissa said that the relevant gazette notification will be issued on Friday. Minister Dr. Nalin Dajatissa said that a gazette notification would be issued this Friday for the recruitment of 2,650 student nurses who sat for the GCE advanced level examinations in 2020, 2021 and 2022. He also stated that in addition to this, 875 graduates who had obtained nursing degrees in the past would be recruited into public service. The relevant gazette would be also issued on the 18th. Views were also expressed regarding the court order issued yesterday on appointment of heads of local government bodies. The minister said that those councils are being formed and the concerns raised by the opposition, including the SJB, was about the use of secret ballots. He also said although the opposition objected, the government only succeeded in places where the secret ballots were held, while they lost in places where the opening voting took place. However, he pointed out that the worst counts immediately after ruling were the ones that secured their victory. Those in not secret ballots in Beruwala, still, he said they had won. They explained in Beruwala there were two local government bodies, small urban council and a large Rajya Sabha. In the regional council, they had won 20 out of 43 seats, where the SJB had only obtained 10. The urban council, they had 3 members and one of their own was nominated for leadership. As a result, a portion of the opposition group had voted in their favour. The government has also taken measures to conduct an investigation regarding financial irregularities that occurred in Housing Development Authority. The cabinet spokesman stated that although the Housing Development Authority had planned to implement 2,562 model villages under the 7 program between 2015 and 2029, only 367 of them had actually been inaugurated. He mentioned that loans has been granted to 25,453 beneficiaries, while 28,663 individuals had received support in form of aid. He further said approximately 13,000 million rupees has been distributed overall. 523.6 million rupees had been spent specifically on promotional expenses. Mr. Dr. Nalin Dajatissa also said that postal strikes cannot be justified. The minister stated that their needs to know today was not a kind of postal department that existed years ago, but a modernized postal service capable of competing with various commercial institutions. He said that a reformed and updated postal department was essential. He emphasized that strong innovation was required to safeguard the trust and reputation of the postal department. The strike of this nature brought by no benefit to either the department or the postal service.
Batya, the taska, which was under treatment for several days in a critical condition, died in the morning today. The taska was undergoing treatment since last May. A generation of magnificent taskas can be spotted around Galgamur, Ambanpula, Mao, Nikavaratia or around the Dedru Oya Valley. Several elephants died unfortunately recently due to various reasons. Batya showed the characteristics of becoming a gorgeous taska at the age of 20 to 25 years, which represented the same generation. The jamba was given treatment for its swollen foreleg and was in a critical condition due to its trunk becoming numb later. The reason for this condition has been the gunshot injury it received close to its left ear. During the last 8 days of treatment, the assistance of Peradeniya Veterinary Medical Faculty was also obtained. The lying posture of the tasker was changed yesterday, and an Indian medical team was also expected to arrive in the island today for its treatment. The jumbo died before the team could arrive at around 8:55 in the morning. According to reports, post-mortem of the jumbo will be conducted tomorrow. Professor of the Peradeniya Veterinary Medical Faculty, Ashoka Dangola, said that this has been an unexpected happening since continuous efforts were taken to save the life of the tasker. A large number of persons also assisted in this effort along with criticism. The best efforts were made to save the life of Batya, the tasker.
කනගාටුයි මොකද ඒගොල්ලෝ අපේ අධෛර්යමත් කරනවා මේ වගේ වැඩවලදී කොහොම වුණත් අපි කරන්න ඕන දේ කරා අපි හානිය කරේ නැහැ හානිය කරේ වෙන කවුරු හරි සතුන්ට ආදරය කරන මිනිස්සුන් විදිහට කරන්න පුළුවන් දේ අවසාන මොහොත වෙනකනුත් කරා කියන තදබල විශ්වාසය මට තියෙනවා.
Minister of Environment Dr. Dhammika Pattabhendi says that arrangements will be made not to allow the death of such valuable taskers in the future. Minister of Environment Dr. Dhammika Pattabhendi said that the government did the maximum possible to save the life of Batya, but this should not be made the final occasion for the conservation of the elephant population of this country.
The government has focused attention on tightening laws against the shooting of wild elephants. A meeting was held today at the Ministry of Environment under the patronage of Minister of Environment Dr. Dhammika Pattabhendi and Deputy Minister Anton Jayakodi. Incidents involving the shooting of a wild elephant are reported in the Department of Wildlife Conservation. Therefore, the Minister Dr. Dhammika Pattabhendi instructed the Director General of the department to take necessary actions to strictly enforce the law against such acts. They also focus attention on strict laws against illegal construction of electric fences on private lands. They also discuss measures to update the laws against killing wild animals and strengthening regulations to strictly punish the offenders.
The Cabinet Ministers has approved the proposal presented by President Anurukumara Dissanayake in his capacity as the Minister of Digital Economy to implement the National Cyber Protection Strategy in Sri Lanka 2025-2029. Several other decisions were also taken at the Cabinet meeting. The first Information and Cyber Protection Strategy of Sri Lanka, introduced in 2018, was implemented from 2019 to 2023. The Sri Lanka Computer Emergency Readiness Team has prepared the National Cyber Protection Strategy for Sri Lanka 2025-2029 on cyber security based on the first Cyber Protection Strategy with the assistance of the World Bank. The aforementioned strategy has been drafted based on the theme fields: upgrading the legal regulatory framework, increasing knowledge, enhancing the readiness of cybersecurity, strengthening response capabilities, and increasing cooperation in a way that covers only the civilian sectors of cybersecurity in Sri Lanka. A proposal relevant to obtaining assistance for applying for foreign passports online has been submitted by the International Organization for Migration to expedite the procedure of applying for foreign passports by Sri Lankans through Sri Lankan missions offices located in foreign countries. Accordingly, the Cabinet Ministers has approved the joint proposal presented by the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Foreign Employment and Tourism and the Minister of Public Security and Parliamentary Affairs to implement the aforementioned project for applying for foreign passports through the online procedure by the identified 20 Sri Lankan missions and offices located in foreign countries. The Sri Lanka Railway Department does not have a sufficient number of power sets to operate passenger trains in suburban areas. Accordingly, the Cabinet Ministers has approved the proposal presented by the Minister of Transport, Highways, Ports and Civil Aviation for the procurement of 5 power sets to engage in services and suburban and long-distance travel. The Asian Development Bank has expressed their concurrence to provide $100 million as result-based budget assistance for the quality and capacity building program in secondary treatment hospitals throughout the island. It is aimed at increasing capacity and quality standardization, pharmaceutical drug supply chain, transparency and efficiency, strengthening in health procurement and financing system. Therefore, the Cabinet Ministers granted approval to the Minister of Health and Mass Media to execute this project from 2025 to 2030, utilizing the said grants which is provided via the result-based loan grant methodology. The Cabinet of Ministers granted approval to the resolution furnished by His Excellency the President in his office as the Minister of Finance, Plan Implementation and Economic Development to appoint a committee comprised of officers in relevant institutions to provide temporary monitoring relief for e-commerce activities and introduce a long-term regulatory framework.
The oil share price index of the Colombo Stock Exchange recorded yet another all-time high today, closing at 19,000 points. This has been a new record for the Colombo Stock Exchange. The ASPI, which closed the 19,000 mark during the morning trade, closed at 18,946.27 points after gaining 107.88 points today. According to the CSE, the turnover is 9.1 billion rupees, was recorded at the time of close.
A meeting between President Anurukumara Dissanayake and Chief Executive Officer of the Saudi Fund for Development, Sultan A. Al Marshad, was held yesterday afternoon at the Presidential Secretariat. The primary focus of the discussion was to assess the current progress of projects implemented with the assistance from the Saudi Fund for Development and to identify opportunities for new initiatives. During the meeting, extensive discussions were held on the support provided by the Saudi Fund to Sri Lanka. The fund also expressed its willingness to place greater emphasis on digitalization, recognizing its importance in strengthening and enhancing the efficiency of key public services. The discussions also focused on the continued implementation of the projects currently underway in Sri Lanka with the support of the Saudi Fund for Development. President Anurukumara Dissanayake recalled the long-standing friendship between Sri Lanka and Saudi Arabia and expressed his gratitude for the unconditional support extended by Saudi Arabia during Sri Lanka's recent economic crisis. The ambassador of the Saudi Arabia to Sri Lanka, Khalid Hamud Nasser Al-Dassim Al-Khatani, along with representatives of Saudi Fund for Development, participated in this occasion. The Colombo Magistrates Court ordered today to release on bail consultant Dr. Maheshi Vijayaratne of Sri Jawarnapuri Hospital, who was in custody. She has been alleged of committing the offence of corruption by selling surgical equipment at a higher rate to the patients. Colombo Chief Magistrate Tanuja Lakmali Jayatunga issued this order after considering the facts presented by officials of the Bribery Commission and attorneys at law of the defendants. Accordingly, the suspect has been ordered to be released on a bail of 50,000 rupees and 3 personal bails of 5 million rupees each. The magistrate banned her from entering the Sri Jawarnapuri Hospital along with a foreign travel ban. In addition, an order has also been issued to deposit her passport with the court. The Colombo Magistrates Court also ordered today to release on bail former chairman of the Sri Lankan Airlines, Nishantha Wickramasinghe, who was taken into custody on corruption allegations and was also in custody. Accordingly, it has been ordered to release the suspect on a bail of 50,000 rupees and their personal bails of 5 million rupees each. Foreign travel of the suspect has also been banned by the magistrate while ordering to call the case for hearing on the 14th of October. Mount Lavinia Magistrate Chaturika De Silva ordered today to release former Minister Davinda Dissanayake as per the order of the High Court on relevant bail conditions. It has also been ordered to imprison the first and the second suspects. The magistrate also issued an order to call for hearing the case on the 29th of this month to deliver the verdict regarding whether the former minister should be completely released or not from the case pertaining to the gold-plated firearm incident. Meanwhile, the officials of the Anti-Terrorism and Investigation Division informed the court that investigations relating to the T-56 firearm taken into police custody at the Havelock Housing Complex, Vallavata, have been completed. The hearing of evidence was started at the Colombo Magistrates Court today. The case filed against drug racketeer Nadun Chintaka alias Harak Khatter and other defendants in the presence of Colombo High Court Magistrate Justice Lanka Jayaratne. The defendant Harak Khatter, who is imprisoned at the old prison at Tangol, was presented in the court amidst heavy security arrangements. The evidence of the complaint was recorded under the guidance of the government attorney at law. Further hearings will be conducted on the 1st of September.
2 persons died on a road accident which occurred near the 17th-mile post at the Mapakada Daba along the Mahayangane Badula main road this morning. Our correspondent said this mishap occurred when a motor car veered off the road and fell into the Viyanamaha Valley Canal. Officials of the police training college, Mahayangane police and villagers have gathered on the scene and taken the motor car back onto the road. However, both persons were in critical condition and admitted to the Mahayangane base hospital without delay. However, the hospital sources said the both were dead at the time of admission. The victims have been identified as a 53 and 56-year-old males, residents of Moragala and Okampiti areas respectively. We'll be back with more local news after a short break.
Prima Stella, අපි හැමෝම කැමති.
Live from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Welcome back. We continue with more stories here at home.
Providing 5,000 rupee allowance to children in child development centres and government care centres commenced today at the Setsiripaya in Battaramulla. This program has been proposed for the budget to provide a cost of living to the children who are under institutional care or under custody and street children. This has been named as Artha with the theme of children belonging to entire country for children. This program was initiated under the concept of caring and empowering children. Accordingly, 5,000 rupees monthly allowance is paid for them and they complete the 18 years. This has been implemented with the contribution of several institutions, including the Ministry of Women and Child Affairs. Minister Savitri Pururaj said that 9,191 children in 356 institutions are eligible for benefits under the program. Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya said that many of the children who come under the program are mainly parentless children. This will help ensure their education, health and mental well-being when they leave the care centres. They should be treated as same as children who have parents and elder care the government mediates to make the future a success.
National People's Power secured the power of the Pradesh Sabha today to a vote in this connection was held this evening under the patronage of Northwestern Province Local Government Commissioner Sanjeevani Herath. A secret ballot was held at the Pradesh Sabha auditorium to elect the chairman and the vice chairman. Accordingly, Jayaratna Jayasekara of the NPP was elected as the chairman and K. Ajit Laksiri of the same party was elected as the vice chairman. Sumit Jayaratna of Samagi Jana Balavegya was elected as the chairman of the Sitavaka Urban Council. Ajit Vijayamani Soisa, who represented the independent group number 2, became the vice chairman. They were elected by an open ballot. The meeting held today to elect the chairman of the Sitavaka Pradesh Sabha under the patronage of Western Province Local Government Commissioner was postponed indefinitely today due to lack of quorum. Earlier, the meeting was held on the 17th of June and was postponed due to the same reason.
An independent investigation committee has been appointed to investigate the reported administrative and financial irregularities at the Sabaragamuwa University. In order to implement the recommendation, COPE committee has gathered. The 4-member committee was appointed by the Secretary to the Ministry of Education, Higher Education and Vocational Education, Nalaka Kulawera. The chairman of the committee is a former Supreme Court Justice, Vijit Malangoda. The committee also comprises of the Vice-Chancellor of the Rural University, former Vice-Chancellor, Professor Gamini Senanayake, and former Additional Secretary of the Ministry of State Resources and Entrepreneurship Development, WMC Bandara. Assistant Internal Auditor of the University Grants Commission, Hasanti Patirana, has also been appointed. The convener of the committee is expected to forward the investigation report regarding the incident within the 60 days to the Ministry of Education, Higher Education and Vocational Education.
The final seminar of Nanameahhira 2025 was held at the Andhra Bandaranaike Peace Memorial Hall in Veyangoda today. Over 1,000 students took part in this occasion.
Nanameahhira ශිෂ්‍යත්ව සම්මන්ත්‍රණ මාලාව 2025
The final seminar of the series of Nanameahhira scholarship seminars concluded successfully today. Over 1,000 students participated in this seminar. In line with the seminar, the national television also organized an awareness program for the parents of these students. The next series of Nanameahhira program will be organized next year.
Sasar Shalpa 2025 exhibition commenced today at Biotechnology Park in Baramulla. The prisons authorities are taking strenuous efforts to improve the skills of prison inmates disregarding the crime they have committed. As a result, Sasar Shalpa 2025 exhibition was organized. There are about 82 trade stalls and visitors are able to purchase artistic creations made by inmates in 28 prisons in the country. The event marks a significant feature in the prison rehabilitation process. During the rehabilitation periods, the inmates have been provided the opportunity to produce many handicrafts and creations under numerous sectors including agriculture, carpentry, industry, bakery, sewing and footwear. The prison department expects to further promote the skills of prison inmates and bring them to international level by holding such exhibitions. In addition, the department aims to reintegrate the inmates to the society as good citizens. The opening ceremony, Minister of Justice and National Integrity, Attorney at Law Harshan Nanameahhhira, Minister of Women and Child Affairs Saroja Savitri Kulraj and many others were present.
Moving on with more news, South Korean Embassy in Sri Lanka organized another chapter of the Korean Ambassadors Cup Taekwondo Championship at the K-pop World Festival. The event was held to celebrate the Korea Week 2025 at the BMICH recently. The Korean Ambassadors Cup Taekwondo Championship is one of the major events of the Korean Embassy organized jointly with the Sri Lanka Taekwondo Federation pursuant to Korea Week every year. This competition is to provide an opportunity for all Taekwondo competitors across Sri Lanka to showcase their mastery in Taekwondo, a traditional Korean martial art, while deepening the bilateral sports cooperation between Korea and Sri Lanka. The final rounds of Korean Ambassadors Cup Taekwondo Championship were held at the BMICH in parallel to the celebrations.
The inauguration of the new government in Sri Lanka last September, Korea has also welcomed a new administration under President Lee Jae-myung this June. Under the new leadership, I hope the bonds between our two countries will grow stronger and deeper. Today, as we gather in the spirit of fair competition and unity, we are reminded of the deeper significance of Taekwondo, a martial art rooted in discipline, respect, and perseverance.
The Korean Embassy also hosted the Sri Lanka competition for the final round of the K-pop World Festival. This was organized in an attempt to foster cultural cooperation and deepen the understanding of Korean music and dance. This event was a celebration of Korea's globally acclaimed music industry, stunning choreography and charismatic performances of K-pop fans in Sri Lanka.
Event is part of our journey toward the Changwon K-pop World Festival, one of the largest global stages where K-pop fans from over 100 countries come together through music and dance. And right here in Colombo, we begin that journey with your voices, your moves, and your dreams. I'm delighted to see young generation putting their heart and soul into choreographing Korean dancing techniques and enjoy K-pop music.
Well, that's it on local stories, and we'll be back with news overseas.
Now to foreign news. In a strong warning, US President Donald Trump has declared that if Russia fails to commit to a peace agreement to end the war in Ukraine within 50 days, the United States will impose severe tariffs on Moscow.
Speaking in Washington following a high-level meeting with NATO Secretary General Mark, President Trump also announced an increase in arms shipments to Ukraine, emphasizing America's ongoing support for the war-torn country. President Trump stated that NATO member states will move to supply Ukraine with advanced military weaponry, and he added that European nations will contribute financially toward these defense efforts, including the provision of Patriot air defense systems to help counter ongoing Russian aerial assaults. Trump's warning comes at a time when Western allies are intensifying their pressure on Moscow. He underscored that failure to reach a ceasefire agreement would prompt the United States to introduce extensive trade tariffs against Russia, aimed at crippling its war financing. In response, Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov described Trump's remarks as serious and said the Russian government would need time to analyze the implications of proposed sanctions targeting Russian exporters.
Now on sports news, England registered a 22-run victory in the third test against India. The match was played at Lord's Cricket Stadium. England posted a total of 387 runs for the first innings. Joe Root scored 104, while bowling, Jasadun Bumrah was able to claim 5 wickets. India also scored 387 runs in their first innings, with KL Rahul scoring a fine century. In their second innings, England scored 192 runs, giving India a target of 193 for the victory. India only able to score 170. Ravindra Jadeja was unbeaten on 61 runs. On bowling, Ben Stokes and Jofra Archer shared 3 wickets each.
Goes towards that leg side, Ducking is there, it is over his head.
That's it for tonight's English News telecast. Thank you for joining us. Good night.
Good night.